Well, today, it's, what today is? It's September 26th?
Mm-hmm.
And we're working on next year's garden. Today, we're going to remove seeds from tomatoes to save for next year's crop. Now, we have tomatoes here, and they're nasty.
They sure are.
Yeah, it's good to, it's a good day to do this because I got a bit of nasal congestion and that helps. What we got to do, the seeds are in these. Our job, get them out. Now, there's all kinds of ways people do this. I've seen people put them in jars and let them get all nasty and everything. But there's not really any need to go through any elaborate procedure. All you got to do is get them out of there. And I'll show you how I do this. First, I grab the nasty tomato and I put it in the...
Oh, I see what you're doing.
See the seeds dropping out?
Uh-huh.
I think if every seed in this tomato grew, we'd have tomatoes all over the world.
Yeah, it's got a lot of seeds.
Oh, it stinks too.
I know, I smell it.
Now you want the tomatoes to be mature.
Okay. And that's your food bucket.
That's the foost.
That goes in the compost.
I put them in the big strainer. Yeah, it stinks.
It smells.
And then I rinse them out. And the seeds are gathering down in the bottom. Sometimes you get a bunch. Sometimes you get few.
Which tomato is that, the one you're working on now?
These are big blacks. That's what I call them. I don't have any, since we save our own seed, they're all open pollinated heirloom tomatoes. And they tend to get together, we might say, and pollinate. So there could be anything in here.
Let me get a good shot of that.
Yeah, you got to pick through it a little bit. And it's messy. It's a messy job. See, we pick through. You can see the seeds in there.
Oh, I see the seeds. That's a good shot. Okay.
I just got one of these for now. See, I'll go through here and I can scoop them out. See them sticking on my fingers?
Uh-huh.
But there's a crop of tomatoes in there. It doesn't look like much right now. What I'm trying to do is exclude the mess and get the tomatoes out.
The seeds.
Yeah, the seeds. Get the good stuff. Well, I think tomatoes because I'm seeing ahead.
That's right.
Some see seeds, I see tomatoes. But this is important to gather your seed when it's ready. Gardening never stops at our house.
No.
See, I'm just kind of working it a little bit. Now, tomato seeds are very tough. They can go through your digestive system and still be viable.
Huh.
I heard a story one time about a guy who got some, sewage stuff for his yard. And they put it on there, and it was tomato season, and he had about 4 million tomato plants coming up in his yard because people had been eating them, and, well, you know the rest. See, there's plenty of tomatoes in there.
I see the seeds.
Plenty of seeds.
All right. We'll go to the next step.
All right, we've gotten most of the foost out of there. And what we have, then we got a little bit of tomato material in there of the fruit, but that's enough seeds right there to plant a lot of tomatoes. That'll plant maybe a flat of them, which is, I don't know, 30-some plants.
What are you doing now?
I'm putting them, what I've constructed here, this is wax paper stapled to a piece of cardboard. See? They don't stick to it. And I'll dump them out on here like that. Then we'll take a little something Maybe we will. And we'll gather them up. Yeah, this will work.
I know it's kind of.
We'll take a little something and we'll put them in a kind of push them all together, because I can get more than one kind of tomato in here. And we put them like this. Just spread them out a little bit. Now they're going to stick together because they've got tomato fruit portions on them, but that's okay. Now these will dry out, and then you take a credit card or something after they're dry and just scrape them up. And they're going to stick together, but you can kind of fidget with them a little bit and they'll separate. Now what I'll do, see, I like to dry it off a little bit around them, and then we can label them. Like I said, this is a big black. Now what I'll do when it gets about February or so, I'll do a germination test. Excuse me, I got snot nose.
Oh.
Anyway, and nasal congestion is a good thing when you got nasty tomatoes. And a germination test is a very scientific thing. What you do is take a flower pot, put some potting soil in it, get it wet, poke 10 holes in it. Put 1 seed in each hole. Cover them up, water them. 8 come up, you got a germination of 80%. 7 come up, 70%. That's how you do a germination test. It's kind of like when you're a little kid, you planted the little sunflower seeds in the little paper Dixie cup that you put construction paper around, and they came up and you gave them to your mom on Mother's Day. That's what that is. So you do this, you label them. Like I said, ours have kind of mixed together, so I just label them big black like this. These ones we know.
Yeah, those are all.
These are the Opalkas, and for a big tomato, they have few seeds in them. So I'll have to go through a couple of them. And we know this is one of our weird little kids. I just made up a name. I just call this the beef heart, because we had one that was, if you've seen some of our videos, it was enormous. It measured over 16 inches circumference. Let me do one of these.
Okay.
I'll show you what I mean. See, the seeds are all in these little gel packs.
Oh.
See how it makes... This one's a lot easier to manage because it's not falling apart in my hand. And I'll peel them like this.
That one still smells good.
And the seeds are in these gel packs, see?
Oh, that's nice.
See how they're arranged?
Oh, yeah.
They're in the little
pouches.
Yeah, and I just go through here and gather them out. Peel them back. And, you know, when they mix, you never can tell what you're going to get. You'll get some interesting tomatoes, but they're all good.
They really are. I never got tired of fresh tomatoes this summer.
But see, I'm just going through here and peeling them back and scooping out the gel. They're in like a little jelly. See, that's where they all are. And in the meat, there's none. See? See, that's the part people like to eat, is the meat. But the seeds are in the kind of liquid part. You want to make sure the fruit is mature. You don't want any half-ripened ones or anything like that, because the seeds aren't fully developed. They're little embryos and all, aren't ready to go. See how they're in the jelly? Then like we did, we rinse them. And they will stick together a little bit, but you can separate them. These are easier to manage. See, I just rinse them, and I kind of work them because that works the tomato meat, or whatever you call it, the flesh, through the screen.
Yeah, that one did a lot easier. Look at all those.
See, this year we had 43 tomato plants. I always go bigger than what I think is going to be needed because there's all kinds of adversity out there.
Yeah.
But this one came out nice. See?
Nice. Oh, yeah. Very nice.
That's enough to plant a lot of tomatoes. And I tell you, you wonder if you took one tomato plant and took all the tomatoes you got off them and got all the seeds out of there, how many tomato plants could you possibly grow the next time around? Thousands. They're reproductive machines. So these will all be, they look like good seed. I don't see any discoloration or anything. But like I said, always do a germination test on any seed that you save. You can do that if you had leftover seeds from this year that you wanted to try for next year that have been a year old. Do a germination test. It'll surprise you. Some seeds, you know, they found seeds in Egyptian tombs that are 3,000 years old that still germinate. And that's cool. But anyway, this is how we do the tomatoes. We label them, then we'll let them dry out. And when they're dry, we'll take like a credit card or something, which is probably the best use you ever had for a credit card. And scoop them up. And we went to the Staples or something and got these little, they call them coin envelopes. They're little square little envelopes. And you label them, seal them up, put them in a plastic bag or a zippy bag or something. Keep them in the refrigerator. Freezer's okay, but refrigerator's better. That way, any kind of bug or something in there, it won't. You know, it's just the same reason you put your food in the refrigerator, you know? But it keeps vermin from getting in there unless you leave your refrigerator door open a while. And then they're ready to go. But this is how we do our tomatoes. And I'll do a series of them. I'll do some here, and let them dry out for a few weeks. And then just scrape them off the wax paper, put them in the coin envelopes, label them, put them in the refrigerator. Like I said, during the winter, when the seed catalogs are coming on, we're getting antsy. we go ahead and do a germination test. And then you know, it's good. I like saving seeds because it's a form of independence. You know, in the world to come, perhaps seeds will be more valuable than gold. We can't always depend on our seed catalogs and companies to be there because one day they might not be. And, I mean, you can have a nice garden plot, but if you don't have seeds, what are you going to do? You know? So learn the skills and do it. But only use open pollinated varieties. Hybrids won't breed true. They'll go back to their original genetic parents and you'll get all kinds of weirdos and things like that. Now squash, that's weird because squash is incredibly promiscuous. The winter squash mixes with the summer squash and the zucchini with the UFOs and the UFOs with, and you get all kinds of weird kids. They're edible and they're cool and some of them are strikingly beautiful, but they don't really breed true. So if you want to save squash seeds, grow one kind of squash or separate them by a good distance. Maybe your buddy could grow one, you could grow one, then you each share the fruit, but you have pure seed. But we grow a lot of kind of squash, so it's not really practical for us to save squash seeds. They're mixed with pumpkins and everything. Now beans, definitely, you can save those. They stay true. Flower seed, of course, we save that. Sunflowers, cosmos, 4 o'clocks, we save all that. And the Azbuki beans, of course, we got to have them. So we save them. And let's see, what else do we say? Cucumbers. Cucumbers don't really breed with the squash too much, so you're good with that. Corn. Yeah, corn, as we discussed, can be separated by time. You know, you look at the maturity date, one type of corn matures in 78 days, one in 88 days. Separate them by 2 weeks, they pollinate and they're done, and then the next one's pollinated. They don't mix. But we're on like our 10th generation of Bloody Butcher corn now, because we'll grow that in the Silver Queen, but we separate them by time. Mm-hmm. We'll wait 2 or 3 weeks between plantings, so they're not sexually active at the same time. And that's always a good one to do. Okra, what you do, I got ones out there maturing late in the season. You just stop picking it, or stop picking the lower pods. Let them mature, let them get good and dry and brittle and brown, and then just break them open, and these little gray-green BBs come out, and that's your seed. Check for fungus. If you have fungus on them, isolate those seeds and get rid of them, because you don't want fungus in your seeds. So that's what we're doing today. We're starting next year's garden. It's the end of September, and we're thinking ahead till next March when we plant these seeds in the cell packs and start. We're beginning with the end in mind as usual, and we thank you all for watching, and we love you.
You silly man.